Welcome on board to the Alien Spaceship talk show with Emmy Hikins and Trevor, a podcast where no topic is off limits. Fasten your seatbelt, stick the kettle on, you're in for a bumpy ride. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Was instrumental in sort of the sewage systems and everything in London and getting that all started, to my knowledge. So
wow.
That's right. But you're absolutely right. And of course, some of those where you sat on a hole which went down to the floor, they were like communal as well. You just had a series of holes there. And actually, some of them in the Middle Ages, some in medieval times, some of those didn't even go into a cellar. They just went into a sort of a specialised floor outside. I suppose that's why somebody said we didn't get civilised until that changed. And in fact, the first person to create some sort of flushing system, a very early version of that, was someone called Sir John Harrington. And he was a godson of Queen Elizabeth I, apparently, and he developed this thing in the 1500s. And for 200 years, the wealthy had a version of his flushing toilet, so-called, in their homes, with the rest of us just sort of happily going into these communal places. Well, I'm not sure happily, but to these communal places of that. Another little interesting trivia there is another word the Americans often use for the toilet is the John. You may have heard them say the John.
Yeah.
And that was based on, Sir John Harrington, the Queen Elizabeth I's godson. So he did the first of the flushing toilets, but then in 200 years later, that's when Alexander Cummings came along and really improved it with a water closet. So that was a big step. And I think in the 1800s, they realised that poor sanitation caused disease. So they had to move it forward. And that's where our mate Thomas Crapper came in. He really did a lot of good things with plumbing. And again, these people did these tremendous works of invention and working with difficult materials without any of the things we assume today, like a computer, to calculate the necessary calculations, I guess. So there's some of the basic things. I mean, to conclude about toilets, I'm not sure why we're focusing on that, but there's some famous toilets around the world. I mean, sorry, go on, Rose.
There's a lot of toilet talk here.
There is, but
maybe move on to something else.
We will. A very famous toilet, though, to conclude, was Elvis Presley's, because he became very famous in the 50s and then died 20 years later, in 1977, while he was sitting on the toilet, which was a sad thing, but it's made his toilet a place of pilgrimage when people go to Gracelands. So that concludes the toilet talk, as you say. So what other incredible things in human ingenuity, can we think about? One of the most amazing things was, I don't know whether you've ever seen the film Apollo 13, but what was the third moon mission came to an early near disaster because there was an explosion as they were headed to the moon, and basically a lot of their life-giving oxygen exploded out of their sort of the part of the spaceship behind the command module, and they had, long story short, they had to move into the little lunar module and activate that oxygen system and shut down all of the oxygen such as was left in the main system. Now, they couldn't turn them round, so they had to continue to the moon, a long journey, 250,000 miles. And looking at the calculations, there clearly was not going to be enough oxygen, one way or another, to get them back to Earth. It was quite a, the good film, Apollo 13, it tells you all about it. But again, the long story short, they had to overcome some incredible challenges. For example, the carbon dioxide was building up, as it would do without the necessary filters operating in the command module and getting through to the lunar module. It was building up to such a degree it would have killed them within a couple of days. So Mission Control had to devise a system to make something to filter out the carbon dioxide. Now, they couldn't send up a lorry load of parts and repair stuff, so they had to work with what they knew was in the command or lunar modules. And again, basically, it was they came up with this sort of a cardboard box. They had tape, sticky tape, and they had to make a tube, both ends, to put this on there, and they connected it. I mean, I don't know the finer points of this, but they had to connect it to different parts. And incredibly, at a very near point when the carbon dioxide would have killed them, they could suddenly report, yes, the numbers according to their
reading
figures that they had in front of them were going down. And so that in itself was quite incredible. They saved every possible piece of electricity they could, because on paper they couldn't get back. They would have died with lack.
We're going to take a short break now. We're back shortly. You've been listening to the Alien Spaceship Talk Show with Trevor Gear and Emmy Hikins. The Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast is looking for sponsors. If you're a company out there looking to spread the word about the products and services you provide, please get in touch with Deepstuff Radio Podcast on info@deepstuffrecords.com, or to use the contact form on our website to contact us, please visit radio.deepstuffrecords.com. Also, if you're looking to get involved on the Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast, reach out via our Deepstuff Radio Facebook page. Thank you.